Hi, and thanks for watching the DIY Daddy channel. My name is Don, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make a wine rack out of pallets. The pallets I'm going to use today, they're hardwood pallets that come already cut from the warehouse. They're rejects that they've sliced up a little bit, so there's really not much left to do to them. But you can see, the general design and how to make a wine rack very easily with these things. So if you take a look, you've got the wine rack here, which this would be the bottom of the pallet. The top, for some reason, has already been destroyed and removed. And the place that I get these pallets, they're all like that, which is great. So what I would do is I would take a few of these, and if you watch my other video on how to take pallets apart, you'll see how I separate these planks. And I'll take one like this, and I'll just cut the boards, or the 2x4 studs, up the length of a wine bottle, which I get the measurements for you as we go through. I'm going to take one of these pieces from another pallet and nail it to the bottom so that the bottles will have something to sit on. And then you would use this board right here to mount it to the wall. And then I'll show you how to make a cup holder or a glass holder at the bottom. So the average height for a wine bottle is about 12 inches. So you're going to want to make these at least 14 inches tall. It'll make it easier to pull the bottles in and out. Alrighty, so go up 14 inches. Mark my line. Okay, so now I have my piece that's 14 inches, all right? So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to flip it upside down, and I'm going to take another piece of wood from a different pallet that's the same length. All right, I'm going to center it right on that stud. Now, the only downside to these hardwood pieces is that they seem to crack a lot easier. All right, so when you're hammering it in, be gentle. All right, now some people like to add a shelf on top, which is totally up to you. You can put something up there so you can add, like put whatever you want on it. You can choose to put a piece that's a little bit wider so you can put like your corkscrew and your decanter up there. Okay, so now we have a wine rack that has both the bar to keep the bottles in, a plank out here to mount it onto the wall, a shelf on top, and a piece on the bottom. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to make the glass holder. Now this part is tricky. You're going to want a piece that's the same width as all these, so if you're using the same pallet, it shouldn't be a problem. But you're going to want to make sure that the piece does not have any cracks in it whatsoever. All right? Because what we're going to do is we're going to cut some pieces of 2x4 that you got right when you trimmed off these pieces. We're going to make some spacers. All right? So I'm going to cut them about 1 inch thick. All right. So my chop saw has a 1-inch marker on it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line the piece up with that. Alright, and then I'm going to do that again. I'm going to do that 3 times. Alright, so now I have the 3 spacers that are going to separate the bottom tray. All right, so now that I've marked, I've spaced out where the glasses are going to go. The next step is to put a line right in the center, which is going to be where I'm going to drill my holes for the glass stems to go. So I'm going to measure, this is 3.5 inches, so it should be 1 3/4 inch for the depth of the line. So 1 3/4. Alright, so now I've got a 1.5 inch bit on the end of my drill here. And I've put a little 2x4 bridge. So I'm going to start. Alright, so now that all the holes are drilled, what we need to do next is take a jigsaw and cut little slits so that the stem can slide in and set down in the hole. As I'll take my carpenter square and I pretty much just eyeball it. I want the entry into the hole to be wide enough so that the stem will fit. So I'd say that's about a little bit over 1/2 inch. All right. Try and center on the hole. Okay. So all the slits are going to look like that when I'm done. All right. And if you want, you can use a Dremel to smooth out the edges. Some people like the really rough, rustic look. But that's how you do that. Alright, so I also want to mention that while cutting these notches out, this is when it's going to be the highest risk of cracking, and you want to make sure that you don't ruin the piece. If you crack it, you're going to have to start with another piece. Alright, so we are just about done. So all that's left now is to mount the glass holder to the bottom. Alright, so we're going to put the wine rack upside down. Alright, you want to make sure that you have everything facing the right direction. Alright, so we're going to place our spacers right on top of those studs. Alright, they're all going to line up. And then we're going to take the wine rack, the glass holder, place it right on top, making sure that the slots for the stemware to slip in is facing the front. All right. So once that's lined up, we are going to tack it down. You want to make sure you do this gently because this is where you can crack the wood. In order to prevent cracking on the ends, which would ruin the piece, I'm going to pre-drill some holes. Alright, so now that it's all tacked into place, that's what it's going to look like. So we're going to have, of course it's upside down now, but when you flip it over, you're going to have your wine rack that has the top shelf, the barriers so the bottles don't fly off, the glass holders, and the backing to mount it onto the wall. And when it's mounted, it looks just like that. So that's how you build a wine rack out of some pallets. If you have any questions, comments, make sure you put them down there in the comment section. Make sure you subscribe, and see you on the next one.